Marketer of the day, number 408, traffic fountains. Get an unlimited number of clicks, views, and sales to your website. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're talking today about traffic, and since we retooled the show a little bit, it's no longer the Robert Plank Show, it's now the Marketer of the Day. The marketer we're going to focus on today is Mr. Lance Tomashiro. He's my business partner. We've had him on the show a couple of times, talked about him a few times, and he's really one of the most amazing success stories I've ever come across on the internet. And not just because he was a student of mine and he took one of my classes and worked his way up, became my business partner. It probably sounds a little condescending to mention that because it was so long ago. But here's what happened is for my first number of years, I was taking all kinds of action online, but not finishing. So first I handled the finishing part. First I said, okay, I've got all these projects, got all these ideas. I told myself I could make a web host, I could have a web design agency, I could outsource this whole team. But as soon as I actually had bills to pay, and as soon as I said, all right, what is going to pay the most money with the least amount of time, and probably not maybe the lowest amount of effort, but an average amount of effort, so I'm not pushing myself too hard. And for me, that took the form of examining the skills that I had, and I realized that a skill I had was programming, and maybe for you, you're more of a people person, or you're a video person, or you're a website person, but my skill was programming. So the best bang for my buck was tapping into that and getting paid for that skill. And so so as soon as I stopped spreading myself so thin and focusing on 10 different things, and I said, the one thing I will focus on is getting paid as a computer programmer, getting hired to do a job, get paid the big bucks for it, and then cash out. Well, what happened was many of the clients that I had since I was working my way up were just starting out business people as well. They had super low budgets. They had huge expectations. And I learned a lot just from trial and error and working with different people. And I began realizing that there was a lot more money to be made with these people in partnering with them as opposed to just being paid as a freelancer. Because as I said, they had low budgets, they had high expectations, and they'd pay me just a few $100s because that's all they had in the budget. Otherwise, they were going to go elsewhere. And then I saw them turn around and make tens of thousands of dollars reselling the software product. They'd paid me outright just a few $100s. So I realized, okay, well, there's something more that I have to do. I need to be building my own business. I need to be building my own list, getting my own traffic. And that's what I began doing and making a good amount of money, but there was definitely a cap on that. And I realized now looking back that I was just focused on the day to day. I said, I've got to finish this book, this report, this program, this sales letter. And I was just cranking out products. And the place where I lucked out was that I found a high traffic website called the Warrior Forum at the time where I could run paid ads and send those paid ads to these offers I was creating and then build a list of the buyers of that offer. And at the time, and still in this day and age, people talk about building a list in terms of, let me make a free gift, and then someone will fill that in and they'll exchange their name and email address for that free gift, and then I'll send them over to a sales letter, and that still works. But I wasn't even doing the free gift thing. I just said the only thing I really know about traffic at the time was sending traffic from this one site to my websites. And the only things that I knew about list building at the time was capturing a list of buyers. Was what someone bought from me, then the software I used would add them to an email list, and buying was a form of opting in. They can always opt out and all that fun stuff, but I didn't focus on building a free list, on having a follow-up sequence until years and years later. And at a certain point I realized, okay, well, I've built this business up, but I'm a one-trick pony. All I know is how to program some stuff, make a product, make a package, make an offer, and then post to one single website and get people there, from there. And it was a really scary place to be because everyone was always telling me that email marketing was going to die. I'm still waiting for that, by the way. But that was a concern of mine, and email deliverability has definitely declined, and it seems to decline every year. It seems like people are way more distracted, less likely to open up an email inbox. So that's why we need to look into making up the difference from some of these other traffic methods we're going to be mentioning today. We're going to mention 6 different traffic fountains for you to tap into if you don't have an email list, if you want a backup source of traffic compared to your email list, if you just want to grow your business in general, you need to be firing on all cylinders. And the real problem with traffic is that things change so much. The rules change all the time. The Google rules, the Facebook rules, for the free stuff, for the paid stuff, things change all the dang time. And if you're not careful, then you'll be following some outdated advice. Outdated advice like, if you want traffic, just write some articles and post them to an article directory. Post them to a site like easyarticles.com. Well, that's a very, very outdated concept. And the idea is that you write some good stuff, you post it on this high traffic site that's favored in Google. Well, guess what? It's not favored in Google anymore. It's kind of been slapped. So that's one example of someone recommending different forms of traffic. And another one might be if someone says, well, write something, take a blog post and save it to a PDF document and then post it to a site called Scribd where they host PDFs. It's like a YouTube of PDFs. And usually when someone mentions traffic, that will be in the list. But that's one of those just inconsequential little things where it seems to end up in everyone's list as a by the way traffic source. But it's not the main traffic source you need to be focusing on. The same way that someone might say, you know what, you should post videos to YouTube, and someone else might say, oh yeah, also post those videos to Vimeo because you'll get extra traffic there. Well, would you really get a lot of extra traffic or just a handful of clicks? So let's focus today on the traffic methods that are somewhat evergreen, but we're going to cover some of the cutting edge stuff also, like Facebook chatbots. But so there's so many traffic methods and sources out there that were cooked up based on somewhat of a harebrained scheme, sort of a house of cards where some marketer had a really good idea and they set some stuff up and a lot of people jumped in, but then it collapsed on itself. Or the other thing that happens many times is that a new platform will come out into the marketplace, say Facebook Live. It'll come out and there'll basically be 3 stages. There'll be the stage where no one knows what's going on, no one has a good handle, no one has figured it out quite yet, and we just have to jump in and try different things. And then there's the sweet spot where if we jumped into a traffic source like Facebook Live or YouTube early and built up some subscribers, then the evil marketers out there, they figured out the landscape somewhat. And they know some of the strategies and they know some of the steps you need to take and some of the daily tasks you need to take, like optimizing your Google ads or putting out a new Facebook Live or boosting it or something like that. And then there's the third phase where the marketers ruin it for everyone, and whoever created the platform, Facebook, Google, someone else, they add restrictions to that platform where it just makes it harder for everyone because those dang marketers used it up. And then you have to really be careful and play by the rules. And pretty much any platform out there goes through those 3 strategies: the Wild West strategy, the sweet spot, and then when the sort of the sunset years where it's tougher or it's easier to get blocked and banned than it is to run some ads. So something to keep in mind as we talk today, but let's dive right in and first talk about, in the first traffic fountain, search engine optimization and content marketing. This is the low-hanging fruit, and this means that you need to have a website, whether it's a blog that's yourname.com or it's what we call a content blog where we have a domain name where we sell something. So for example, webinarcrusher.com is a website where we sell some cool stuff. And then we have webinarcrusher.com/blog where we have interesting articles and videos and tutorials about webinars, which then lead people back to the site. So that's the easiest low-hanging fruit. Post some content on your own blog. So I have a couple of interesting twists and turns and suggestions for you. One is to go to Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. I'll go there right now with you. And then once you're there, search for the term article writing. So we'll type article writing in the search box for Fiverr. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to find the person like Natasha something who's a lot of people mention, but so I'm searching Fiverr for the term article writing, and then you can sort by relevant, and I'll sort by average customer review, and this will be this will list for me the people that have the most ratings for stuff. So I'm looking in, and pretty much anyone on the page I'm looking at has at least over 100 reviews. And on Fiverr, basically, half the people that buy leave reviews. So if someone has 1,000 reviews, it's safe to say they've had 2,000 orders. So I'm looking, and there's someone who's had 1,000 and someone who's had 2,000. And so there we go. So we just choose one of the people that's written 2,000 articles. And so for the basic version, so she'll write you a 500-word article for $10. And this person has 44 orders in the queue, and she delivers in 5 days or so. So she probably writes about 10 articles a day, if not more. So you hire this person, you hire her for a pack of articles, and it looks like the best deal on the page for this particular person, her name's Cindy Hardy, just looked her up on this website Fiverr, for $90, she will give you 10 articles. So that's what I recommend. $90, 10 articles. You give her your keywords. You say, I want you to talk about drone racing. I want you to talk about weight loss. And then when those articles come back, if you want to clean them up slightly, you can, but don't spend more than a couple minutes on them. As soon as the articles come back, go ahead and set up a blog and post those articles to your blog and have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them be live, and then space the rest of them out about a week apart. And then there you go. That's a great kickstart for some content for you. So there's 10 articles right there for $9 a piece. And you just give them your keyword, you give them some suggestions on similar articles you'd like them to write, and then there you go. So that's a great way to kick off your content marketing, your search engine optimization, and Google will love that because they'll see that you post unique original content, that you have written something that is not available anywhere else, and that you post somewhat consistently, which you did because you posted your first 3 articles and then you scheduled the rest to come out within the next 7 weeks. So there's that. And then another recommendation I have for you is if you have any sort of video or anything spoken like what we're talking in right now we're talking in a podcast. And one of my favorite recommendations is rev.com. That's rev.com. And they will take any audio you have and they just type it up. So if you have old YouTube videos or things you've spoken, or heck, maybe you've spoken part of a book and you said, oh yeah, I never got to finish that book, and maybe you never will finish it. So it's time to just grab the content in there, put it online for free, and that builds your business in other ways. And then next time you can start on the other book, right? So rev.com is a great way to take anything spoken and turn it into words. And so, like I said, this can be existing content, things you already have out there, or if you have new ideas for stuff, why not speak some stuff out and sit down and say, I'm going to speak out 3 talking points. I'm going to limit myself to 3 to 5 minutes, and you speak in about 150 words per minute. So you do the math there. You speak for 3 minutes at 150 words. That's just under 500 words, which is a decent amount of content. And if you even spoke for, say, 8 minutes, then now you have a very, very lengthy blog post. And it only took you 8 minutes to speak out. Then you went on rev.com and got it back in 24 hours. It only cost you $1 a minute. So that's 8 minutes of your life plus $8 equals a very long blog post. And if you did that every day, or how about this? What if you did 2 of those every morning? And you post 1 for free, and then you save 1 for that book you've been always thinking about writing. And so you post all this stuff on your WordPress blog. You take interesting YouTube videos you see online, add them as posts. If you know about a tool called Zapier.com, you can get your blog to automatically post interesting videos based on keywords or based on the channels that you follow. You post these things on your WordPress blog. YouTube videos, written stuff from Fiverr, transcribed stuff from rev.com. And if you're posting on a WordPress blog, you might as well make it a podcast. We have a course called podcastcrusher.com, which shows you how to make an online radio show, a podcast just like this one. And it's a matter of you install a WordPress plugin and you make your blog post on your WordPress site. And then you can record the spoken part of it, and the spoken part of it can be the whole thing, or it can be there to accompany the text that you have there, but you upload an audio file, you connect the audio file to your WordPress blog post, and now you have a podcast. A lot of people think a podcast means it's some huge commitment, they have to put out all these episodes, but if you just thought of just 4 or 5 subtopics about your site. So, for example, off the top of my head, we mentioned drone racing earlier. What questions do people have about drone racing? I mean, without even searching, like I'll get the search, I'll start searching here, but I will search on Facebook groups named drone. But even as that's coming up, what comes to mind is, well, what's the best drone for a beginner? What exact equipment do I need? Like, I'm sure I need like a controller. Do I need batteries? Do I need ways of charging it? Do I need commonly broken items for replacement, like extra propellers or things like that? Or I might be asking about what's the best drone to buy if I want more battery life? What's the best drone to buy if I want something durable? What's the best drone to buy if I want something that's great for a beginner and where like I can crash it, and if I do crash it, I'm not out a lot of money because I'm just brand new. As I'm searching, it turns out there's a thing called drone fishing. I had no idea. So now we could have a whole episode talking about drone fishing. What do I need to know? And that's maybe the question that you should ask yourself is, what do I need to know? If a brand new newbie, if your grandma or your mom or your any family member came to you and said, drones, what do I need to know about them? What's the DJI brand? Or what's the range on them? Or should I have one that I can fly using my phone? Or is there issues with getting that on Wi-Fi? Or should I use ones with the controller or with the camera? And I've seen some that fold up in your backpack, and I've seen some that are super high end. So is that worth it? I've seen some where the camera, like a GoPro camera, attaches to it. So should I buy a camera separately or get a drone with that built in? So great ideas. And even if I search, like I'm not finding much on Facebook because I have to join some of these groups. I don't feel like doing that right now. So let me go on YouTube and I'll search drone racing. And we'll see what comes up in the search results. So I'll see first person view, 100 miles per hour, drone racing battle. So there's lots of cool videos like that. But how about drone tutorial? Let me search that in YouTube. We'll see how to fly a drone in 8 steps, how to fly a quadcopter. So like the basic moves on your controller, top 5 drone shots. So you could list out, you could say, okay, well, do a really like high altitude shot or like a low angle or line of sight stuff. So lots and lots of ideas there about a podcast. And if you just focus on 5 or less episodes, 5 things a beginner needs to know about webinars or about drone racing, and then you just, each one of those basically questions someone would have asked you is a podcast episode, and you put it out there. So I have an evergreen podcast called the Membership Site Podcast. I plan on making some more, and I know I've made sales from that because I think, we have the Membership Site Podcast, and there's been a handful of people in our customer support desk who in between asking for help with things, they've mentioned that they found us through a podcast, which I assume is the evergreen podcast for membership sites. And then once you have all this stuff, once you have things you've written, things you've spoken, then go ahead and post some of the extra content on LinkedIn or on Medium. Now, why would you do that? Well, you'd post some of your content on these websites because these are what have replaced Easy in Articles. So as I said in the beginning, I made fun of them a little bit. Easy in Articles was a site where the only point of this site was that people can come and people can post articles that they've written on the site. So the entire site is just basically guest blog posts. And this ranked very highly because they put out a lot of content, but then for whatever reason, Google slapped them. And now people are looking for these authority sites where they can write something and write whatever they want and put it on their own page. And LinkedIn seems to have filled this void. And I think the reason is just by default because Google Plus, who really uses that? Facebook, it's sort of locked in because you have to be logged into Facebook to do very much. And a lot of people only make content available for their friends. So Facebook isn't exactly SEO friendly, search engine friendly. It's very rare that you're going to search something on YouTube, on Google, and then find like a Facebook post that has your answer. Facebook, at least I could be wrong, but my opinion of Facebook is like they're kind of making their own internet over there with like a fan page is sort of like a website, and a group is like what a Google group used to be, or a message board on a website. And so it's very rare that you're going to do a Google search and find a Facebook post as one of the top results, as opposed to some sort of web page. So some sort of web page you should put in front of Google is one of these posts on LinkedIn or on Medium. And these are, and so like LinkedIn, you can have your own profile, and you have like your own resume, so to speak, and you can connect with friends. But there's also a way where you can post on your own wall. You can post your own articles, they call them, and then that way you post on LinkedIn, and then you get ranked there as well. And so there are websites like that. And right now, for me at least, LinkedIn is what's replaced Easy Articles. And I don't do any of the goofiness where like people say to post on your website first and then post on LinkedIn and stuff like that. I have an article, I make it unique for LinkedIn, and that way I'll get ranked for that. And usually for the LinkedIn stuff, I think I've only written like maybe 3 or 4 articles on LinkedIn, and for that's why I post more of like the mass market, approachable, motivation stuff, the less technical, less step by step. I talk about just sort of like business insights or things like that. So search engine optimization and marketing, Fiverr, Rev, post on your WordPress blog, make an evergreen podcast, and post your article on LinkedIn and Medium. All right, so that was maybe some technical stuff, and I want to avoid, and I got a lot of like little sites out of the way because I want to avoid just listing a bunch of sites and saying, oh, you should post your article to this. You should post your video to this. I want to give you some ideas, and again, give you a little bit of the cutting edge, but then also tell you the strategy behind it, so that if someone in the future unseats LinkedIn, you'll just know that you're posting on an authority site, or and I don't think that posting on your own site is ever going to go out of style, but it's one thing to post on your own site, but you also need to get some outside traffic coming in. Posting to your own site's great. I think it's very much a must-have. You need to have some sort of content that stays out there forever, and people can search for you and find things that you wrote 5-10 years ago at some point, because sadly a lot of marketers out there are kind of fly by night. They'll make a landing page, they'll send some traffic to it, they'll pull the page down and have to scramble and start from scratch over and over again. And if that's you, if you enjoy that, great. But for the rest of us, some of us want to put some stuff out there and have it stay a little while. So let's next talk about this concept called guest posting. And what I had been doing years ago, I didn't think there was much to it. I would post on the Warrior Forum, and I think it cost $40 at the time to make a post in this special area where it was 100% buyers. Think of it like, say, Amazon.com or eBay.com. When you log into sites like those, it's people looking to buy stuff. It's not necessarily people looking like on, say, like a Craigslist, or if they're just browsing, they're looking to buy something, or like Facebook or Google, just browsing. But on one of these paid marketplaces, people are looking to spend money. And if you've been kind of sitting around and wondering, like, what business model should I be in? Should I be in e-commerce? Well, e-commerce has built-in traffic, right? E-commerce, you say, I'm going to find a physical product to make, and I'll do research on competitors, make the product. But then after you make the listing, get the inventory, well, people are already searching Amazon for your keywords. You might run some sponsored ads, things like that. But any site you have, any business venture you're in, you need to be focusing more on the traffic than on the product itself. And some people don't like that, but just think about this. If you spent 2 hours on a video or a piece of content or something on like a Monday, well then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you better spend 2 hours on those days sending traffic back to your content. Think of the 80-20 rule. 20% of the time making your content, 80% of the time marketing. And just think about people who have a book. If someone's going on a book tour, the book was written months ago. Now they're spending months and months going everywhere, getting the word out about the book. So you need to spend more time marketing than creating the content. Guest posting, and what we're talking about here are podcast guest interviews. So this is a 5 episode per week podcast. I have guests on here all the time. And my secret, should I reveal my secret? All right, I guess I'll reveal my secret. You can find all about this in podcastcrusher.com. I don't mind revealing this because The site I use is difficult to navigate, but then if you know the couple of links to click on, it's pretty easy. The site is called RadioGuestList.com. All right, can't believe I'm revealing one of my biggest secrets from our Podcast Crusher course. And this Radio Guest List site is a place that I use where I post about my show and I say, here's my show. If you're a guest, make sure to hop on and register and give me your pitch, and we'll get you scheduled for the show to talk about your website, your app, your book, whatever. And you can join Radio Guest List as a guest of shows, and you could get yourself listed. And while you're waiting for the phone to ring, you can also contact other podcast shows that are listed in that Radio Guest List format and give them your pitch. And most of them are looking for tons and tons of guests, so it'll be easy to get in. And then once you get in on a handful of those shows, you can then make a spreadsheet and look at those shows and look at other recent guests of those shows who are similar to you. Then you search that person's name plus the term podcast, and you find other podcasts that the person has been on, and you find the contact details and you reach out to those other podcasts and you say, I see that you like having guests such as this person or that person here, and I listen to your show. Here's what I like about it, and here's my details. Here's my bio. Here's my offer. Here's my one sheet. And do you want me to be on? And you put out all these feelers. You get all these responses back. And then you figure out your schedule and you hop on these shows, and they might be, in different formats or different groups or different things like that. But you hop on someone else's show, and then you bring whatever your expertise is. If it's drone racing, if it's selling on Amazon, flipping websites, you come on the show and they read your bio and they ask interesting questions. And I'll just be realistic with you. A lot of the shows you end on might have sort of a low energy host. You might be doing a lot of the talking. So just be ready for one extreme or the other. A host that doesn't speak very much and you kind of have to carry the conversation. And then you might have a host that asks lots of little questions who might know literally nothing about what you talk about. And either one is fine. Just know that what you're getting into. And then a resource I want to recommend is interviewconnections.com, and they are a service you can sign up with where they will get you booked on shows. And all these interview agencies, they'll charge a few $100s per show that you appear on, but that's a good thing because they'll train you, they'll get you on the best shows, they'll get you on the shows that you need to be on, and the longer you're with them, the more they'll reward you by moving you up to higher and higher traffic shows. And that way you can get your delivery down, get your talk down, your speech down, get your talking points figured out on those smaller shows, and then work your way up to the larger shows. And so I'm not even going to get into things like guest blog posting, because in a way that's what LinkedIn is. And guest blog posting works in a similar way where you can put feelers out to these sites that need content. Even huge sites like Huffington Post, Business Insider, there's even technical ones like Gizmodo and TechCrunch, things like that. But a lot of these sites that put out just so much stuff, they're always in need of new, fresh writers. So if you see that a site is putting out content similar to what you put out, it can't hurt to reach out, give them a few ideas, and say, I'll write some content for this for you. So guest posting is a possible thing you can do, but a lot of people think of guest posting as I've got to write some stuff, or if someone is doing a roundup, which means, like, for example, Huffington Post or a Business Insider type of site might say, we contacted the world's top 10 productivity experts, and they all gave us one sentence on something you can do to boost your productivity. Or we contacted these people in this niche, and we asked them about their favorite book, or their favorite thing to do first thing in the morning, or their favorite thing to do right before going to bed or something. And then you can have a blurb along with 10 other thought leaders. And guess what? If you have a podcast, reach out to all those other thought leaders and say, hey, we were in a roundup together. Do you want to be on my show? Or if they have a show, you say, I was on a roundup with you. Here you go. And so that's one way to go about it, except for there's a lot of writing. So I think that podcast guest interviews is more fun. You might have some of the butterflies in your stomach at first, but keep in mind that you're not on TV, you're not on the radio, you're just talking on someone's podcast, and you appear on these smaller podcast shows first That way you can get your nerves figured out, you can get your delivery all figured out. And then once you get good at posting on your own site, guesting on other sites, let's talk about number 3, video marketing. So we said number 1, search engine optimization and content marketing. Number 2, guest posting. Number 3, video marketing. And this means to post somewhat regularly to YouTube and to Facebook Live. So so I'm on YouTube already, and I was searching drone, but if I search the term drone and then the current year, then, okay, looks like there's a movie out called Drone, but you find lots of just brand new information. I'm seeing the best selfie drones for the current year. 10 best drones in the summer of this year. Drone fail crash compilation this year. Mavic Pro versus Phantom 4 Pro, best drone of the current year. How to build a racing drone. I didn't realize that when you make a racing drone, you take a real drone and soup it up. So we're seeing all these tutorials that have the current year in them. And if I even search something that I know, like WordPress tutorial, I find things like how to make a WordPress site from 9 months ago, 600,000 views. A 13-minute video on an introduction to WordPress, 1.2 million views. Pretty dang crazy. And if I search for YouTube or WordPress plus the current year, I see things about how to get a SSL installed on your site, top 10 WordPress plugins. We're seeing top 10 free and responsive themes. So these should all be ideas for you. And you just search these things in YouTube. Search your niche tutorial or your niche the current year or even last year to give you tons of ideas. So let me try that. Drone tutorial. And then I'll put in last year. And I see how to sketch a drone, like how to design your drone. I see takeoff, flight, and landing. I see the best drone for beginners, multi-point camera tutorial. So these are all ideas for things that you could demonstrate. And I think that's the key word on YouTube is tutorial or demonstration. So sitting in front of a camera and just talking, that's called vlogging. And that's okay for things like Facebook Live where you stream just something you're saying. But for YouTube, there's a lot of competition, a lot of great tutorials. So think about on YouTube, sitting in front of the camera is great, but I've just seen a lot of marketers put out these just 1 to 2 minute videos, and they'll put out hundreds of them, and they'll just really suck, and they won't be interesting, and no one will watch them. So that's why I'm saying that for YouTube, consider some sort of a tutorial and search for your niche and the year, or niche and beginners, and find the most popular YouTube videos out there and replicate it in your own way. Don't copy, but use those for ideas of what YouTube visitors want and give it to them. And the next Facebook Live, so YouTube tutorials, just put some of these out every now and then, like every week or every couple of weeks. And then Facebook Live, same deal. If you can stream every day or a handful of times a week, that's ideal. And I've tested out lots of different ways to do it. And here's what I found is that with, and our course for this is videosalestactics.com. What I found with Facebook Live is that I almost have to, for the majority of the Facebook Live stream, have myself just on camera, talking head style, live action. I'm just sitting at the desk talking to the computer. And the reason for that, well, there's a couple reasons. But one is that Facebook will not allow you to run ads on videos that have too much text. So every time that I switch from the live action web camera on Facebook Live and I show something on my computer or a website or PowerPoint slides or a webinar or something, then that's too much text for Facebook. They don't really like it. But at the very least, what you can do is stream your web camera for the first few seconds or even the first few minutes and then switch over to the screen capture stuff. And sometimes that gets me through, but not always. And the other thing about showing text or showing screen capture stuff on Facebook Live is I'm very aware that a lot of people watching me on Facebook Live are on mobile devices or on their phone. They're out and about. So if I show something in text, if I show me writing an article, writing a blog post, I know that they're not going to always be able to make out the text on a tiny phone screen. So that's why on YouTube I put the tutorials for especially pieces of software, and there have been so many times when I've been stuck with a piece of software or some shopping cart or how to make a green screen in Camtasia, and I've gone to YouTube and I've searched for a quick tutorial. And one thing that comes to mind, again, I probably shouldn't say this, but I was trying to find how to do a video. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen posts from websites like Now This on Facebook, but there are some videos some of these huge sites post where they don't really say much. They just kind of show video clips and then they show text. So they might say that, like, the such and such panda is in danger of extinction, and they'll show clips of that panda, or they'll show the clips of the panda in the zoo and in the wild, and they'll just put a few words on top of that to make their point. And it's a very few words, so I guess it gets past Facebook's filters. But I was looking once for how to do that, and then I found a YouTube channel from someone named Premiere Gal, and she was just showing these tutorials on how to do these things in this software called Adobe Premiere Pro. And she was selling some template for something like $10 or $11 or something on how to have the type of video that this Now This Facebook page posts. And so what a great way to get some traffic. So she makes YouTube videos, I think, almost every day or a few times a week, pumps out tons and tons of stuff. And so you just solve a problem using a piece of software. Someone searches that, and if you can have the template or the shortcut that makes it easy for them, then boom, there you go. So tutorials for YouTube, and then live action talking head for Facebook Live. And then with Facebook Live, it's like, well, where do I post it? Do I post it on my own timeline? Well, no, because Facebook caps the number of people that can see a live stream on your wall. So then, well, do you live stream to a Facebook group if you have one? Also, no, because at least the time we're recording this, you can't boost a post or you can't run ads to something you streamed into a group. So what do? You make what's called a Facebook fan page, you live stream into that Facebook fan page, and now you can run ads to it. So what kind of ads do you run to that? Well, I've been playing around lately with retargeting. So you can add, and you can and should add what's called a Facebook pixel to your site. And so then when you run ads, you can say, I can run ads for my live stream on my Facebook page, and I can run these ads to everyone who is a fan of Russell Brunson or Ryan Dice or Grant Cardone within this age range in the United States. So try that. And the further you get outside of internet marketing, the better that these advertisements are going to work. But then what I've been playing around with is I experimented with this pixel on the site. And so this retargeting pixel just means that if someone leaves Facebook and goes to your site, well, if they're still logged into Facebook, then now a cookie has been set, and now they are recorded as that exact Facebook user has now visited your site. And so if someone has visited your site and then you run an ad to them on Facebook, so now they visit your site and they see this recent live stream you've been doing, they're going to recognize you, and hopefully they will like your fan page, and hopefully they will like your video, and you can get very specific in the ad, and you can say, I'm going to run an ad to someone who's been to my site, but then not someone if they've already liked my fan page. So you can run this again and again, and I kind of just play around with it, and sometimes I'll run an ad for people who have been at my site within the last 7 days, and then I've had even more luck recently with running an ad to what's called a lookalike audience. What's a lookalike audience? Well, basically, if someone comes to your site, they have liked other fan pages. Maybe they've liked the fan page for Elon Musk and Richard Branson or something like that. And then what Facebook does is they'll say, well, we see that your fans like Elon Musk and Richard Branson and Bill Gates, so we'll find other people who like these things, or we'll advertise to those people's friends. And so I've been having a lot of great results lately of doing a live stream on my fan page, then sharing it to my wall and the group. That way we get the extra traffic there, but then boosting the post to a lookalike audience, like a 1% difference of a lookalike audience based on people who visited my site in the past 7 days. And so there, you can get super crazy with the targeting, but those are just some interesting things there. And you can do things like, you can like people who, you can find like 5 or 10 fan pages that you know that your ideal fan would like, and then find maybe 5 fan pages that your ideal customer would not be a member of, and you can subtract them from that and have a lot of fun with that. So video marketing, YouTube for tutorials, Facebook Live for talking head live action stuff. Really running out of time here, so we're just going to speed through the rest. Hopefully not too quick. Pay-per-click ads. This means run stuff on Google AdWords, run stuff on Facebook ads, and I know the rules change, but you know what? The very first day that Facebook ads came out, I listed a site there and it was banned instantly. It was banned instantly because it mentioned an income claim. So Facebook always, and again, this gets back into those 3 stages, right? There's the first stage where no one has it figured out, the second stage where it's great, and the third stage where they begin clamping down on things. And so Facebook ads and Google ads, I guess the big thing about these platforms is that once they get tired of us internet marketers, they basically want you to send traffic for branding. So they don't always want you to offer something for free. They don't always want you to have a sign up form. But what they always will like is if you have a really great blog post, you can send traffic to that. And you might be thinking, well, why would I send traffic to just a blog post? Well, to get that awareness, to get people knowing you, and you can put a pixel on all your websites, and you should. So you send people to this blog post to get them interested. Now they're cookied with your pixel. Then you run another ad of just people who have visited your site, and then you can begin walking them up the ladder and send them to something to buy or get them to opt in somewhere else and things like that. But the rules always change, and for the most part, Facebook and Google, they don't like you to send somebody to something that claims a bunch of crazy stuff, and many times they don't want you to offer something for free if there's actually nothing for free, if that makes sense. So a lot of times we might say, here's an opt-in form, here's a place to enter your details, and in exchange for some free information, the information is the sales letter on the next page. Well, Facebook and Google, they don't like that, and even the latest rules have been like they don't like you saying free at all. They just want to say, here's this thing I want to give to you. So there's always different rules and things like that, but for the most part, you send people to blog posts and things like that to whet their appetite, and then run the real ads to the retargeted people. All right. And then AdRoll is another platform. And so Facebook has retargeting, and then AdRoll has their own retargeting as well. And you should use both. So retargeting, again, means that someone visited your site, they're cookied, and the ads follow them around wherever they go. So Facebook ad retargeting means that someone maybe went to your site and then they'll see an ad on their Facebook page. And you might have seen this if you, for example, gone to Amazon.com and looked at a book or looked at some kind of something for the kitchen and you didn't buy it, or maybe you put it in your cart and then you left. And then the advertisement for that exact thing is on Facebook. How is that retargeting? So AdRoll is a great way to retarget outside of Facebook, because you might have even gone to some websites like maybe TV Guide or CNN or something like that, and you might have had ads follow you around even there. And that's where the AdRoll retargeting comes in. So somebody comes to your site, they're cookied, you show them ads later on, and no matter how the ad rules change, or no matter what new platform comes up, here's basically the strategy. Is you join this ad platform and you look at the other ads that are running. So few marketers are interested in what ads that are running. So search the keywords that you want. Search your own keywords and look at the results on the Google ads on top. Search this on YouTube and see what results come in the search results for YouTube. And on Facebook, a secret, I can't believe we're giving away so many secrets this episode. A secret of Facebook is, first of all, you see a sponsored ad. Don't just hide the ad, especially if it's something similar to what you want to do. So few people, when they say, oh, Robert, I want to get into Facebook ads, they say, well, have you liked the fan pages of your competitors? Do you visit your competitors' websites? Are you on your competitors' email lists? Well, if not, do all those things so you can see the paid ads that your best competitors are running. So you see these paid ads, and if you see that there's a lot of views or a lot of likes but not a lot of comments, move on. But if you see an ad that looks like it has hundreds of comments or hundreds of likes, then you know a couple of things. You know, first of all, that they've probably been running the ad for a while. They've probably put a lot of money into that ad if it has hundreds of comments. And you know that it's a well-performing ad because they've made their money back on it, and it's been connecting and it's been shown a lot on Facebook, so people are actually responding to it. So here's the secret. If you see an ad that has a lot of comments and likes and you say, all right, I want to clone this somewhat, then there's a little thing you can click in the corner of that Facebook post, and you can show something that says, why am I seeing this? And I guess I'll do it with you right now. I'm sure I'll see a quick ad. So I'm on my Facebook wall right now, or on my page. I'm scrolling through, and three scrolls down, or 3 posts down, I see something from Shopify, and underneath it, instead of a date, it says sponsored. And I'm seeing it has 2 likes, so my guess is that it's still a new ad, and it's free training. Next session starts in under 15 minutes. How to quickly start a profitable dropshipping store. But I'm going to keep scrolling to find something better. So I'm scrolling through different people's stuff. I'm scrolling through, and probably should have paused the podcast episode. So I'm seeing an ad from a place called Got Print. All right, so there's Got Print. And yeah, I think that's actually run by someone I went to high school with. So let me keep going. All right, let me find another sponsor. All right, Steve Olsher, and I think I've had him on as a guest of the podcast. So now I'm curious. Well, do I see his ad because he singled out an interest, like if I've liked Frank Kern on Facebook, or does he single me out because of my friends or because I've visited his site? So I'll go to, there's 3 dots in the top right corner. It says, why am I seeing this? And it says that I'm seeing it because Steve Olsher wants to reach people who may be similar to their customers. So what he did was he dumped his customer list into Facebook and then said, show me people who are similar to these people if they've liked similar things. All right, moving down a couple more spaces. I see a Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle post, 150 likes, 4 comments, 31 shares. Great. So I know this is a well-performing ad. I go to the 3 dots. I say, why am I seeing this? And it says, one reason you're seeing this ad is that GKIC Insider Circle wants to reach people who have visited their website or used one of their apps. So I know based on that wording that they showed the ad to me because of the retargeting. And so you could just kind of keep going around and you could find the reason why you were targeted. Did they target you because you visited their site or because of an interest? So I'll scroll down. I'm trying to find one that's based on interest, but I can't really find one. It's always when you are looking for one, you can't find one. So I'm seeing Caitlin Bacher, how to create a profitable Facebook group. Why am I seeing this? Similar to their customers. All right. So basically, if you scroll around and you find enough of these ads, you might eventually find that one of these sponsored ads is shown to you because of some other page that you liked. And so there's this Crowd Cow, which is, I guess, a service that mails frozen beef to you. And they say that I'm seeing it because I liked something called Foodie. So either I liked a fan page called Foodie, or they figure if you like a collection of pages, for example, services like Blue Apron, maybe they consider you to be a foodie. All right, so that's kind of how you look at those Facebook ads and you figure out, well, what are they targeting? And then after I know what they're targeting, I say, what's the ad and what's interesting about the ad? Why do you think people like that or comment to it or subscribe to it, and then click over and see what the bribe is? So I've been seeing a lot of free bribes for things like checklists or quizzes, which is really cool. And then they kind of take me through this funnel. They say, here's this webpage. I want to give you this quiz. I sign up for it. I fill it out, or I get the checklist. And then they move me right along and they say, okay, great. Now that you've done that, can you go ahead and join our Facebook group? Great, now that you've done that, can you like our page on Facebook? So they kind of bring you through this funnel. They get you to do all these different things. They get a heck of a lot of mileage out of you from that one click on the ad. So no matter what new bells and whistles are out there, no matter what rules come crashing down, what you do is you first model what you see. You model the other ads you're seeing. You see why they're advertising to you, what the ad copy itself looks like, and when you click over to the site, where do they take you? What's the bribe, and how can you do something similar or better? And then when you do that, you create new campaigns daily. And the thing about paid traffic is a lot of people think it's a set it and forget it thing. It's not. It's a every day you test it and tweak it sort of thing. And what's frustrating at first about paid ads, which now I'm great that this is a thing, because it means that a lot of competitors are going to give up too soon, which is great for me because I won't give up too soon. The place they give up too soon is they don't realize that you make a new paid ad and after a few days it's going to die. It's just how all these platforms work. You make an ad on Google or on Facebook, and unless you're really lucky, then the ad's going to die. And if you do get lucky, it's going to be like one out of every like 20 or 50 ads. So you make an ad and you send it to a web page and you have an offer and you put some money into it, and basically you're going to lose money at first, and then you figure out a way to break even, and around the time you break even, the ad's just going to stop performing. And that could be for a number of reasons. On Facebook, the reason could very well be ad blindness. So with Facebook, everyone's on it, right? Everyone's on it for an app. I think chances are you have a tab of Facebook open right now, but I think the average person is on it 1 point something times per day. So basically, when you run an ad, the people that you target, chances are they will at least see that ad once per day. That's my understanding. And so that's yet one more reason to create new campaigns, to create new ads, because if they've seen the ad and they've clicked and responded to it, great. But if they've seen the ad once, they haven't responded to it, are they really going to respond to it on day 2, day 3, day 4? Well, no. Once they see it, that's probably pretty much it for Facebook, but you keep on creating new ad campaigns. And the way that I looked at this was, I mentioned Ryan Deiss earlier in this episode. So this guy, Ryan Deiss, he lives in Texas. He runs Traffic and Convergence Summit. And then, and at one point, he really moved up. And they hired a CEO for the company, and they hired this huge team in this office space. And one thing that Ryan Deiss said was he has this whole like corner of the office where they just crank out new stuff and new niches. So they'll like get into the survival niche or the weight loss niche, and they'll just run experiments. They'll just crank stuff out. They'll just make a landing page and they'll send traffic to it, and they'll build a list, and they'll send it to some affiliate offers and do their best to break even on the ad money, but just they'll be building this list and they'll be creating something new. So think about that. If Ryan Deiss were to hire someone new to work on that ad team, their job would probably be sit at the computer and today just make one ad campaign, make a landing page, make some kind of a free gift or send them over to an offer, and then send Facebook or Google traffic to it. Great, that's a Monday. And then on Tuesday, go back and see how that campaign worked. And if that campaign was good, then great, keep it going. If not, then pause it or drop it and create a new campaign. But have that mindset of going to the computer every day and creating a quick campaign, either a new, better iteration of the ad that you made that performed well, or if it wasn't performing well, then tweak up the targeting or the ad or the offer, but create a new campaign daily. That way you'll get good fast, and you won't feel like you're just constantly trying to replace the ads that are dying. The ads will die, so if you just make your task cranking out new ads, that's the way to go. And your goal should be to break even. A lot of people are sheepish. A lot of people, they won't think twice about dropping $50 for a tank of gas, $200 for a course that they probably won't even finish. But then when it comes time to throw in $5, $10 for traffic, suddenly they're treating it like they're gambling or something. So you need to have a better mindset. You need to put 20% of your income back into ads in whatever form that is. And if your ads are breaking even, you're doing great, because that means you're building a list for free. And so we've had coaching clients in the past, and back when this thing called solo ads worked, where you said, find someone with a list, toss them a few $100s, they'll mail for you. They broke even and built a huge list of a few hundred people and then called it a failure because they didn't double or quadruple their money. Well, that comes later once the list is built and once you scale it. But pay-per-click is all about breaking even and building the list and creating new campaigns daily. So, number 1, search engine optimization. Number 2, guest posting. Number 3, video marketing. Number 4, pay-per-click. And number 5, upkeep. So, you've heard the money's in the list. It's true. You've heard email marketing's dying, maybe, but email marketing is still number 1 top dog. So you still need to collect leads. You still need to have some of these freebie offers. And most importantly, because this is what I know what to do, is get your buyers into an email list. And that way you can remind them to use the thing they bought, get a testimonial, tell them about new offers, talk them into buying new stuff in a campaign, send out postcards and thank you cards, and I promise you some cutting edge stuff. So here are my 2 cutting edge resources. One is called Push Crew and one is called ManyChat. And these are both free, they both work on WordPress blogs, and they both have a paid level that you can work your way up to once you have more subscribers. So Push Crew, and I'm not really sure if I like either of these yet. But I've been using it for a couple of months. So Push Crew, the way that this works is that Google Chrome browser has the capability to opt into notifications, and these notifications pop up in the exact browser. So Push Crew allows people to use Chrome to one click and opt into this new pop-up notification service that they can unsubscribe from at any time. The drawback to this is you don't get their name or their email address. You just know that that particular Chrome Google account opted into you. The other tool is called ManyChat. This is a tool that allows you to build a Facebook chat bot, which you might have heard about, like in a e-commerce shopping cart store. You might say you might send to a Facebook Messenger account, "I want a red sweater," and they'll respond with a link to it. And what's great for ManyChat with marketers is you can build a list this way. You can have a pop-up on your site, and this is built into ManyChat pop-up. Someone clicks on your website, and then they opt into your notifications on Facebook Messenger. So you can build up hundreds or thousands of Facebookers, and guess what? You send an email, someone might not see it for days later. And why? They have to open their email, they have to find yours in the whole mess. Facebook Messenger, you send that broadcast, it goes ding, you say, ding, buy this right now, the offer's about to close, or hop on our live stream. So the future is building a list in a Facebook chat bot. ManyChat is what you use. And finally, number 6, nice to haves. An affiliate program with a swipe file, maybe a contest, is a great way to get that additional traffic coming in from other people. How about Kindle books? Take your best material from all this stuff, the YouTubes, the podcasts, the blog posts, and assemble them in a short Kindle book. That way people searching on Amazon have a new way of find you. And how about just some general outreach? So like I said, I have a podcast, and I've had people on my show just from them emailing me, or I've checked out new apps or bought things just from people emailing me and offering me a trial or something like that. And there are all kinds of under the table traffic methods that you don't see. So for example, some of these guys with huge podcasts, what you don't see is they pay 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand a month to other podcasts to run sponsorships for their podcasts. And they put in these huge amounts of money because they get huge amounts of traffic back to their podcast. And now those are subscribers that stay forever. And there's all kinds of so-called under the table payments that go out there. So you mentioned Lance Thomas-Shearer at the beginning, who's great with traffic, who's great with funnels, who's great with making self-liquidating offers and stuff like that. And one of his favorite techniques early on was to find popular message boards, find people who are established in a community, look at their signature line in that message board, and pay them, say, $50 a month to put an offer in their link there. And you might see on Instagram pages or Facebook pages, people doing similar things. They'll promote some offer or some link, and what you don't see is that someone paid them, and it might even be against the rules for some of these platforms, who knows, but somebody went and paid the person running that page or paid the person running that podcast for a quick sponsorship. So there's all kinds of traffic fountains available to you. And my suggestion is, out of the 6 we mentioned, 1, search engine optimization, 2, guest posting, 3, video marketing, 4, pay-per-click, 5, upkeep, and 6, nice to have. Focus on those first couple ones and get your website right, get your content right, and then look into getting out more, which means hopping on other podcasts, running YouTube's, Facebook Lives, maybe paid ads at some point, and then underneath all of it, also marketing using email. Lots of stuff, lots of ideas, and I hope that gets you going to get an unlimited number of clicks, views, and sales to your website. Check us out. Check out the podcast at Marketer of the